Okay, I'm going to walk you through a few things on our syllabus. Obviously, you still want to read it on your own and take the time and click on the links and read them on your own. This is me just kind of walking you through this. So, why do I give this to you in advance? Today is Tuesday, July 30th. I'm asking that you read through this and go through all of the links by the first day of school, Tuesday, August 20th. And if you have any questions, you can ask me in class. Once you start engaging with this syllabus, you'll see that it would be asinine to try to do it all in one class period, aside from being incredibly boring. This is something that you should do rather than just have me talk to you. So that's why I give this to you so far in advance. With regard to your summer assignment, it is due by 11:59 p.m. this Thursday, August 1st. I will start grading it on Friday. At best, I can do 4 in an hour. Likely, it's usually about 3 an hour. They would have to be all A plus, require very little feedback for me to get 4 done in an hour. So I'm basically getting 3 done an hour. I believe there are 96 people in the course right now. I would love to get them done by next Friday, but come hell or high water, I have to have them done by Sunday, August 11th. They're listed in Schoology in alphabetical order. That's the order I'll grade them in. Please do not email me and ask me about your essay and your grade. All of the feedback I have to provide to you in the electronic form is shared with you with comments I made on the Google Doc. I cannot tell you how many people say, I don't understand why I got the grade I got. And I write back, please see the comments that I made on the Google Doc. They never even opened it. So please see all those comments. If after reading all of those, you require additional feedback, it obviously needs to be done in person, as I've already provided my electronic feedback. That will have to wait until we return to school on Tuesday, August 20th. So please read the comments that I make to you on your actual Google Doc in Schoology. Okay. The matching assignments are due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, August 18th, excuse me. On Monday, August 19th, I'll use that clerical day to get the grades entered. It's very easy. There's 151 total terms. I'll give you a free one. I'll take it out of 150 and I'll just convert it to out of 15 points. So as you can see the example there, if you got 145 correct, you'll get 14.5 out of 15 entered into the grade book. I will also change the settings so that you can see all of your terms so that you can use that as part of your study guide for the test that is taken on the second day of school, Wednesday, the 21st. Yes, as always, those periods are only 40 minutes, but that's not a problem because 2/3 of the test you've seen before. All of the all of the stimulus-based multiple choice questions are copied and pasted verbatim from the questions bank that I already shared with you. The only questions you haven't seen before are the 20 very low level rote recall questions that go with the people, places, events that you made a study guide for. I cannot stress this enough. There's no remediation. If you score 63% on the test, that's what you start your year with. If for some reason you are absent the second day of school on Wednesday, you must take it on Thursday. It is really important as we move down that you bring your electronic device every day. You access the class notes through there. If we are doing something together, you need to access that. It's really important you bring that. Conversely, it's really important, and I will be extra diligent as there was a direct correlation between the level of engagement in class last year and performance on the AP test. I get so upset and irritated and go 0 to 60 when somebody puts headphones in, earbuds in, pulls their phone out. I have to be uncomfortable, quit taking the path of least resistance, and make sure before we start every class that all of that is secured. You won't see me touch that for 45 minutes. I'm going to be all gas for 45 minutes, and you're going to be engaged. If that's going to be a problem, I contact your counselor and take the train now. We'll be engaged in class. So, okay, moving on to more positive stuff. The daily detail sheets have everything that we need. And you know, as they say in the Navy SEALs, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So we have lots of redundancy built into APUSH. And the first 9 weeks detail sheet I'll show you where that is when you open up our Schoology page. I have another video with that. This is our go-to page because they have everything. You can see the first week, our very first lesson, which is on Thursday, the 22nd. All of the class notes are right there for you. Just because as I go through the class and quickly review basic stuff from civics, like, hey guys, what's the difference between common law and codified law, right? And talk about what that means. What is the supremacy clause? Like just basic review things with the Constitution. Now, as we get into a little bit more depth, the second day, with interpreting the Constitution, you can see all the objectives are there. And then as we start to go through, one of the significant problems was that the United States faced at the time of the writing of the Constitution was public and private debt. And so I've got notes there, and I'm not going to open this up because then it's going to really mess up the screen recording. But all the videos that we watch in class, there's a 2-minute video, there's a 1-minute video, there's a 15-minute video, which you actually are watching on your own this year. But there you go. Remember this stuff from civics, the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. There's our class notes, a summation of their argument. So that's why you always want to have a device with you in class so that you can open up the class notes. Also, I think I'm still going to do this year. So the first day, you're going to do a individual activity with historical reasoning skills. And you're going to obviously have to open that from the detail sheet as you come up with your own example of contextualization, causation, continuity and change over time, comparison, and periodization. As we move forward, so for example, our first really hard assignment due the second Friday, to help you understand that assignment, you're going to be doing some work in groups. So you need to have your detail sheet opened and, click on, the period 2 group questions so that you are able to answer those. So as you play around with this detail sheet, you can see that it's really, really helpful in that you can be like, oh, what do I have to read for Tuesday? The preface for Joseph Ellis's Founding Brothers, and you can open it up right there. Just a word while we're looking at this, the district has basically cut all outsourced copying, so everything will be digital. I would have to copy it myself, which would literally be 3 or 4 hours a day, given the equipment that we have. So everything is digital. You can always go to the library and print things out. So that's our detail sheet, and you can go through and take a look at everything that is that you have to do I've shared this with you multiple times before you even took the course. Now that you're actually in the course, you may want to look at it closer. I made these what am I going to learn documents. So if you look, and I'll share more later, this is just the first 9 weeks. As I learned, the Washington administration, lesson number 4, right? What am I going to learn? What's really important, right? So, for example, you look at number 4, you'll learn that the country was divided politically over the war between Britain and France, and the subsequent Jay Treaty increased those political tensions, leading each side to believe the other wasn't loyal to the Republic. So this is actually really good too, as it comes time to study for the 9 weeks objective exam and to study for the AP test, but you can read through those. We already talked about class notes. Schoology is a separate link, as you saw in this email. The worst question you can ever ask is, did I miss anything? The second worst question you can ever ask is, what did I miss? It's all there. It's all on Schoology. It's all on our detail sheet. I cannot give you a better answer than that. And if you ask me in class, I'm going to say, see our detail sheet. Everything is there. The notes are there. Activities are there. Videos are there. It's all there. So please don't ask me, did I miss anything? Yes, you missed a lot by missing class. Okay. Every day you missed a lot. So what did I miss? Well, you can see our detail sheet and see exactly what you missed. With your homework assignments, it's very cyclical in here. You turn it in, grade it on Saturday and Sunday, you get everything returned to you by Sunday night. Nothing is kind of pencil whipped. So basically it's once a week that you're turning stuff in. The Schoology rubrics, I have everything weighted. Basically, a lot of the homework essays are 40 points. That's why some of the rubrics have goofy amounts of points. You can read that. Citations for homework, you're already familiar with that with the summer assignment. Please make sure that you read that. Due dates, everything is due at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a substantial penalty for being late. You cannot afford in a class this challenging to take late points. As I put here, I understand life happens, and perhaps once, and when I say once, I mean once, circumstances have arisen where you have to ask for an extension. Again, let me reiterate once. I get it. Life happens. Crazy things happen. There's a lot more to life than an A push class. At the same time, executive functioning, responsibility, all of those is a key component of this class. It's something that I will grant you one time because I understand at some point, life's going to throw you a curveball here. But the other reason is that everything is posted in Schoology for the entire semester right now, and that you can see everything in our detail sheets is that you can plan ahead and budget your time. Make sure that you are always following the writing expectations. That's the same that we had with the summer assignment. Plagiarism, well, just like the phones and headphones, here's another unpleasant thing. There's nothing worse than academic dishonesty. I flush everything through the Google Drive. I have everything saved since 2015. At least once every 2 years, I've failed somebody because they copy. That's just unacceptable. It's a real pain in the butt for me to check, but it is so unfair to the kid that does things right that you cheat. So we use the product that searches the web, that searches AI, and I manually search Google Drive with everything. So please do make sure that you are not failing the class because you took the easy way out one time. Single and multi-paragraph essay guides. The textbook readings are shared with you on your detail sheet. Let me go back to the detail sheet for a second here. So anytime you have a reading in the textbook, like for Monday the 26th, you're watching a 15-minute version about the Constitutional Convention, which I'm not going to open because it'll mess up my screen sharing, and you are reading a few pages in the textbook. And so I converted the textbook in chunks based upon each reading into a Google document. It was time consuming years ago, but the juice is definitely worth the squeeze because now you can see there's the whole textbook. Obviously, if you want a hard copy of the textbook, you may pick one up the first day of school. All right, so let me go back to the syllabus. Okay, class notes, we talked about that. Schoology, that's separate, already covered if you are absent. It's really important because I already looked at a bunch of summer assignments that were turned in and their directions are not followed. And I'm not asking you to redo it. You're just losing points because you didn't follow the directions. It's a big part of this class, being able to read and follow directions. So please make sure that you do that. Same thing that goes with citations. We already talked about due dates with homework. Extensions, I already covered that. Okay, so I'm down here. All right. So our in-class essay exams. There are three kinds of essays on the AP exam. An SAQ, a short answer question. An LEQ, a long essay question, which is a multi-paragraph essay, introduction, body, conclusion, and a document-based question, which is the focus of the entire second 9 weeks. You can see everything right there. I'm going to leave it to you to click on each of those and take a look at it. With preparation, you cannot do this the night before. And so what I've created are these things called annotated prompts. Basically, it's training wheels for how to study. So I clicked on the annotated prompts for the short answer question. And so the first prompt, which asks you, okay, part A, briefly explain how Sue Davis's argument could be defended. And she writes, and we're going to learn all of this stuff in class, that the ratification of the Constitution, quote, represented the triumph of individualism over community and Lockean liberalism over civic humanism. So as you study for this, it's like, okay, well, what is Lockean liberalism and how is that related to individualism? And so as you go through and answer these questions, it's going to help you be prepared for studying for the prompt. So, like, for example, like the second prompt, briefly explain one result of the War of 1812. How did it shape the future of American political development? And it just kind of walks you through how to study for that. The same thing with an LAQ. And these are the old versions because with the time change, I'm going to add a question or two. These are not the annotated version. Sorry, here's the annotated version down here. Okay. And so when you look at a question, like analyze why mainstream Protestant America was reluctant to accept Irish immigrants as equals in the mid-19th century. Society had instead treated them as, quote, those people by subjecting them to political, economic, and social discrimination. And so it gives you hints for like, okay, these are things to consider as you study. And it really helps out to understand like, all right, if I'm going to write about why did people hate the Irish, I better understand the impact of the market revolution and the proletarianization of the labor force and how your average Irishman made 8 cents a day in Ireland. The average American Yankee workman made $1.25 a day. So overcomes, this Irishman who's used to making 8 cents a day. Now he's competing with a guy that used to be making $1.25 a day. Part of the reason why there was nativist resentment towards Irish immigrants. Take some time with that. You can see what a DBQ looks like. We do that the entire second semester. We don't even talk about a DBQ the first semester. I created long-term preparation guides. Again, like, how do I study? Well, it's all right here. Like, what do I do? Well, it gives you the dates of when you should be studying for stimulus-based multiple choice questions, regular multiple choice questions, essay questions. Take some time and read through that, but it gives you an idea of how to be successful. Okay, so that's good. And then I copied this from the AP test, and it just tells you about the short answer questions, the long essay questions, the document-based questions. We also take an objective exam per 9 weeks. You can go through and read those. There are 2 types of questions, stimulus-based multiple choice questions, because those are on the exam, as well as the traditional multiple choice questions, which is content that we cover in class. So you can read through all of that, and they're listed on the preparation. Here are preparation guides about how you should keep up with each of those. Then with the study guide, I went through. So here's the first 9 weeks master study guide, and everything is annotated. So here are the stimuli from chapter 6. And so you look at Gordon Wood, the radicalism of the revolution. So if you can answer these 3 questions about that stimuli, I guarantee you're going to be able to answer the question that is on the exam. Let's go to something that's more visual here. Do we have a visual one here? There we go. All right. So famous cartoon. There you see an early fight between Federalists and Republicans, Matthew Lyon and Roger Griswold in the House of Representatives in 1798. And so like, okay, well, you need to go through, and this is in our textbook, and be able to answer these questions. Then you'll be able to answer that question on the on our 9 weeks test. There's a famous one on the XYZ affair, right? So what historical event is being depicted in this? Well, you need to make sure that you know that that's the XYZ affair, right? What caused this event to occur? Well, like, that's studying, right? And what was caused by this event? So like, what caused it was, the French government asked the 3 American envoys for a bribe in order to get a peace treaty between France and the United States. The United States refused to pay. It increased tensions between the United States and France. And next thing you know, we have a war, an undeclared war with France. So the stimuli have annotated questions to answer. And then our traditional questions are also annotated. So it's like, okay, we did this reading the political thought of the Constitution and early republic. And so like, there's a direct link here to the notes on the study guide. And then it's like, okay, back again to civic humanism and Lockean liberalism. Okay, there's a question about that. And so you need to know, right, what does civic humanism mean? What does Lockean liberalism mean? right here. So let's go down to the question is the anti-federalist, excuse me, believed all of the following except, and then it's like, okay, why did the anti-federalists favor local okay, excuse me, were the anti-federalists in favor of local self-government? Why or why not? Of course, you know from ninth grade civics, the answer is yes. They believed that only a local government would be A, accountable to the people, B, know the public good that they were meant to serve. So you would type in that answer there. So again, this is a very cursory overview on my part. You need to spend some time looking at all of that. Very good. There's from the AP test, how much the stimulus-based multiple questions count. Grading is the exact same. That's district standards. Oh, yes. So grade breakdown, here you go. You can click here and see our 1,021 points from the first semester, or you can click here. The second semester is very different. There's fewer things, but it's much more high stakes, and we have 821 points. We're just straight points. Studying for the AP exam. I gave you a link there, which takes you to an explanation of it. When we had COVID, I created a ton of asynchronous resources back during 2020. You can click through and read all of those. I made about 9.5 hours of videos. For the actual AP curriculum, I put links here. This is brand new for this year. So I decided to make my summer project enhancing the way that you study for the AP exam. And everybody has to do this, even if you choose not to take the AP exam. So if you look at this, I created using what's going to be our new textbook. I used the AP curriculum and went through the key concepts and key people per time period for a total of 879. And I used, just like we did the Schoology matching with the summer assignment terms, I did that to review. You can go ahead and kind of look through this document that you're able to access. It's got some hints there on pacing and when everything is due. You have to turn it in by the 5th. You basically have free reign about when you want to do that. I give you a lot of options for that. I give you some guides for how I recommend that you do it. It's worth 100 points, 12.18% of your second semester grade, but you really shouldn't miss anything. If I go up, let me drag this out of the way here so that I can see. This is our Schoology page, which I know you can't access yet, and I'm going to go over in a separate video. But once we finish the third 9 weeks objective exam on March 20th, I'll make this live in Schoology. You won't be able to see it now, but it looks like this. Okay, so there's 9 exams by time period. I broke everything up for you. So let's just pick the most recent one, time period 9, 1980 to the present. And we could pick the 80s, the 90s. Well, all right, let's pick the 90s, my decade. Please open up. Let me give you a preview of it. Okay. So like you can see, like the whole point is that I want you to have to at least look at this stuff as you do it. So civil rights law passed in 1990. Its primary purpose is to prohibit discrimination against individuals with disabilities. So like you should get 100% on all of these because they're really not that much the same. So I go down here and I'm like, well, that's obviously the Americans with Disability Act. I go ahead and drag it up to the top and put it there, right? Like, let's say I was working from the bottom here and I was like, okay, NAFTA. Everybody learned about NAFTA at some point. And so now I'm going to go up and, okay, which one is NAFTA? A series of investigations? Nah, that's Whitewater. Pro Series demonstration? Nah, Tiananmen Square. Comprehensive trade agreement. There's our boom, and I'll put NAFTA in there. So that's why you should get 100%. Like nothing's tricky. I'm not trying to be cute, but it's going to force you to look at all of that stuff so that if you see on a question NAFTA, you remember, oh yeah, that's the free trade agreement signed under the Clinton administration in the 1990s. Okay, so let's go back to The AP review. So that's pretty good. You could take some time and go through that. And then, of course, you can use that. The idea is that you are not, it's not only making you study, but then you can use that as you review for the AP test. I'll also have in-person voluntary synchronous sessions in addition to the huge multitude of asynchronous resources that I provided for you. There's the AP curriculum. And yes, we still go after the AP test. We have to go so fast from the 1960s onward that we're able to go back and reteach some really, really important things from the last 50 or so years. And then finally, with dropping the course, while I am not advocating that you drop, please understand that after 4 weeks, you cannot change levels. You would have to make that change prior to that. And obviously, the earlier you do that, the better. So that is our syllabus. Oops.